This meeting of the Gadsden City Council will now come to order, and the chair calls on Ivan Nelson for the roll call.
Councilman Harris?
Here.
Williams?
Here.
Avery?
Here.
Eccles?
Here.
Stewart?
Here.
Councilman Cannon is absent today. Councilman Reed?
Here.
We have a quorum present. The meeting is open for business, and I'll ask Reverend Bruce Word to come forward and lead the invocation. Please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Father, I come to you today and thank you for the opportunities that you've given us to live today. And Lord, this day we ask you for wisdom. Lord, I thank you for our city council. I thank you for our mayor. I thank you for the city of Gadsden. I thank you for the way that you have blessed us. Lord, your word says, if any man lacks wisdom, let him ask of God. He gives to all men liberally and doesn't hold anything back, and you'll give it to him. Lord, we want your wisdom about the things that need to be discussed and done to make this a city that will continue to be a city of champions. I thank you for what you're doing and what you're going to do today, and I thank you for your blessings upon this meeting. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the Public Safety Committee meeting, work session, and the council meeting on May the 31st.
So moved.
Second. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to approve minutes.
Chair will entertain a motion to ratify payment of the accounts for the week of May the 27th through June the 2nd.
So moved.
Second. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to ratify payment of the accounts.
Proclamations, Mayor. No. Unfinished business, an ordinance repealing the City Code Section 649. This ordinance was presented last week for the first reading. It will remove the location restrictions for the selling of alcoholic beverages for on-premises consumption. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt this ordinance.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that we make a motion to substitute a replacement ordinance amending City Code.
Second.
Clerk, you take the vote.
Those in favor to substitute the alternate ordinance, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to substitute.
Okay, I move that we adopt this ordinance amending City Code Section 6-49.
You might tell what the difference is.
Okay. So I'll go ahead with the discussion. Thank you, Mr. President. This ordinance is targeted towards amending or changing the method of measuring the distance between two locations for on-premises alcohol sales relative to licenses next to churches or schools from a straight line door-to-door measurement philosophy.
Is there any other?
Did get a second?
You hadn't got a second yet. Well, I'll second it. Now then.
Second.
Okay. Now, is there any other discussion?
I'll just make this comment. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I think
We'll
that's
go
my
from there.
consensus also, Bill. Yeah.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Roll call, please.
This is to adopt the substituted ordinance.
Yes.
Councilman Harris,
Yes.
Williams,
No.
Avery,
Yes.
Eccles,
Yes.
Stewart,
No.
Councilman Cannon is absent. Councilman Reed.
No.
It does not adopt. The vote is 3-3. So motion fails to carry to adopt.
9 through 14, this is a time and place is advertised to conduct public hearings allowing anyone to speak in opposition to or in favor of resolutions assessing nuisance abatement liens against property. This is for grass cutting that has already been performed, and we have 6 locations. I'm going to read the addresses and names, and anyone who wishes to speak about any of these may come forward. Nine is a resolution assessing nuisance abatement at 602 Frederick Street in District 1, $451. State of Alabama Property Tax Division, James L. Smith, Jr., in care of Patricia Smith. 10 is public hearing resolution assessing nuisance abatement, lien in District 2, 421 Roslyn Drive, $331. State of Alabama Property Tax Division, Stanley Woods, Jeffrey Dixon, Terrence Dixon, Denise Dixon, Mike Pitts, Reverend Oscar L. McLeod, and Arthur L. McLeod. Public hearing resolution assessing nuisance abatement lien, District 5, 1302 Main Street, $751, James Dinsmore and DeMarcus Thornton, State of Alabama Property Tax Division. 12, resolution assessing nuisance abatement lien, District 5, 304 Main Street, $766, State of Alabama Property Tax Division. Brenda Henderson and Allie Walker. 13, public hearing, add a resolution assessing nuisance abatement lien at District 6, 313 Bryan Street, 43051, State of Alabama Property Tax Division on East Bell, Floyd. 14 is a public hearing, resolution assessing abatement of nuisance in District 6, 2212 Chestnut Street, $1,231. State of Alabama Tax Division, Stephen F. Stargill. This is for grass cutting and has already been performed, and we have six locations. Chair will entertain a motion to adopt this.
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion?
That's over $4,000 in grass cutting. Of course, some of these are rather large, but that means they've been cut several times. So this is a real problem for the city, and I think the mayor's working on something to maybe alleviate some of this, but it's a shame.
Does anyone wish to speak in favor of this? Does anyone wish to speak?
Make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt all 6 resolutions, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
15 is a public hearing on a resolution approving issuance of alcoholic beverage licenses. Dola Jean Corporation, LLC, doing business as Dollar General Store, has applied for off-premises only retail beer and table wine licenses for 9 locations in the city. The address, 108 North Hood Avenue, 2617 West Meagan Boulevard, 3022 East Meagan Boulevard, 1407 South 11th Street, 700 Gilbert Sperry Road, 1622 East Meagan Boulevard, 2110 Ewing Avenue, 1311 Knockaloo Road, 124 North 12th Street. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of it? Chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
They meet all the requirements of the law, and really, if we should turn this down, they would just go to the ABC board and get approval, so there's no point in fighting this.
Is there any other discussion?
Sure, I'm just going to vote the consensus of my district, and I'm just voting on that one on Knockaloo Road. Keep vote one.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed,
No.
we have 1 no. Motion carries to adopt.
16 is a resolution authorizing agreement with Boyle and Benefield, P.C. This is for the annual auditing service for the fiscal years of 2011 through 2013, and the amount is $57,700 for each audit. Chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
17 is a resolution authorizing agreement with Crescent Moon Entertainment. This is for Two Hypnotic, which is the name of the band, to perform at the amphitheater on Friday, September the 2nd, in the amount of $3,000. Chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
New business, is there any new business?
Mr. President, I have ordinance I'd like to introduce at this time on the new business. I'd ask the clerk to pass it around to everyone. And while she's passing it, I'll just tell you what it is briefly. It's amending City Code 649 to remove exceptions for property in B3 and B4 zoning. As you know, we just denied a license or changing the distance from churches otherwise, even though in B3 and B4, you can be next door to a church. And since my fellow council members don't think we need to be next door to a church, then I think we need to remove all the exemptions so the ones in B3 and B4 can't be next door to a church. So I make a motion to bring it up on the new business.
I second that.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the ordinance today, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed,
No.
we have one no, so unanimous consent is not granted for today.
I'm assuming this is going to be on the agenda next week. You'll work it that way. Is that right?
If we don't vote on it today, it will.
Okay. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'd just like to ask you a question.
Sure.
How about and I don't have any earthly idea where one is now next to a church. It probably is, I don't know. Would they, in fact, be grandfathered in? Or is
Not
it
according
written
to
in
this,
here?
it wouldn't be.
In other words, they'd have to get up and move away from the church 300 feet if they're there now.
If they're
No
there.
grandfather.
They would have to move.
I'll ask
But the
him
new
if he
ones.
was grandfathered.
Yes, they would be grandfathered.
Will they be grandfathered until the license renewal time?
No, until they moved it.
Okay.
Or changed ownership.
If it changed ownership, okay.
So there's no potential economic impact, to
Yes,
consider.
That's why I asked the question.
Absolutely, it would be an economic impact.
Well, I mean,
Future
Future
I'm talking
economic-
about on the city as a whole.
future economic impact, if there's a turnover in the businesses.
Right,
That's what, yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, and, downtown is a whole different animal than what we voted on here, so. I'll tell you
Downtown,
up front, I'll be opposed to this.
downtown might be a whole different animal, but churches are the same, I don't care where they're located.
Well, this
Schools
just-
are the same, I don't care
Yeah.
where they're located.
Robert, this
And if
just
you don't
proves-
want an alcoholic beverage sold close to a church in my district, I don't want it sold downtown either,
Well,
close
this
to a
just
church.
proves that once you start changing things, it goes on forever and ever and ever and ever.
Then we
And
need to
that
be
was my
consistent.
contention on the other.
We need to be consistent in our laws and our thinking. And it seems like to me the thought up here was, you don't want alcoholic beverages sold on premises close to a church or a school. That's what I assume that's what you voted for,
Yeah.
the three who voted that way. So if that is the case, then you should be supporting of this issue, because alcoholic beverage can be sold within 300 feet of a church or a school in B3 and B4.
Well,
Let me say this.
Trevor, let me ask you one question. We're talking about being consistent, and you're the one that seconded this ordinance when it was originally done in 1987. So I don't understand the consistency in it. This is inconsistency.
The consistency, when I seconded the motion in 1987,
All right.
was to clarify. And I'll second any motion to clarify anything at this point in time. Yeah.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Then I have a situation, I have a funeral home wanting to come in here at South 11th Street and Christopher Avenue, and I'm going to bring that next week along with this. It's in 01.
Okay.
And we'll employ 10 extra people, bring a funeral home in here and put it right in the middle of an R1 district. I think that'd be.
I repeat, I will
consistent
second that
situation.
motion.
And you'll second that
I
motion?
didn't say I'll vote for it, but I'll second the motion. I'll get it
I
on the
don't know
floor.
if you'd do it. I promise to bring it up.
Gentlemen,
Okay.
let me say this to help us avoid yet another protracted discussion regarding an issue that probably needs to be discussed offline. The motion's been made. We can't consider it today without unanimous consent.
No.
Obviously, we need to have some additional discussion. Robert raises a very compelling argument, though, relative to the impact on his community, which happens to be a majority-minority community or district, versus what's going on downtown. That's something I'd really like us to consider, as we discuss this further. But
I have no
again,
objection to that at all.
But again, this I don't think this is the time and place for a protracted discussion. I think there's still a lot of homework that needs to be done.
Okay, is that it?
That's it.
That's it for that.
Okay, department reports.
Wait a minute.
Oh, yeah, I got some new business here. Hold that, some new business.
They think.
Oh, you got some? Well, tell me about it.
I'm trying to.
Maybe.
Let me get my heart to quit beating so fast, and I'll be right with you. Okay. I have a resolution 223, I'd like to ask for unanimous consent to consider. This is authorizing agreement with Auxiliary Power Systems, Inc. for maintenance of a generator for 2 visits per year. It is budgeted for $400. Ask for unanimous consent to consider.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
We have one no. Consent is not granted.
Okay, they don't need that power system anyway.
Anybody else got any new
I got
business?
one more. I got one more. This is for our first line of defense, the Gadsden Police Department. It's a resolution 225 authorizing agreement with, and I hope I pronounce this correctly, Spatial-Key, Inc., for use of a mapping program to keep a current crime occurrence analysis for the city. Ask for unanimous consent to consider.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Consent is not granted.
Okay. Police Department unanimously thanks Mr. Avery for his no vote.
Is there any other new business?
Mr. President, I have an item, resolution I'd like to ask for unanimous consent to consider this morning. It's a resolution appointing Tim McCartney to replace George Elrod who resigned from the Zoning Board of Adjustments. So I'd ask for unanimous consent to consider this morning.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Consent is not granted.
George.
Is there any other new business?
Yes, Mr. President, I have one item. This is a resolution appointing members to a new member to the Gadsden Airport Authority. I make a motion that we consider this today.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
No consent has been granted.
Is there any other new business?
Mr. President, at this time, I'll withdraw all of my objections to the new business. I'll let it all come back up.
So, let me look at my resolution again, then. It's a resolution appointing Tim McCartney to replace George Elrod on the Zoning Board of Adjustments. So I'd ask for approval of this. I guess we better vote on, well, we voted on the...
Unanimous. He rejected, he pulled that.
Okay, so it's been approved to bring it up, so I
We
ask
now
for
have
approval of
unanimous
the
consent.
resolution.
Do we
I'm
have-
asking for this because they have an urgent issue that's coming up, and they need to have a special meeting ready to resolve it. So that's the reason I was bringing it up today instead of next week.
I hear a second.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries to adopt.
Any other?
Yeah, the other two. Resolution 225 asks for adoption.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
I'm sorry, let me, which one are we voting on?
225.
225,
All righty. Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Okay, and ask for adoption of Resolution 223.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Is there any other?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Resolution 224, make a motion that we adopt.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Is that it? You got two?
I just have one.
I hit the one.
Okay, is there any other? Department reports, committee boards, are there any? Remarks by the mayor and the council. Mayor, you want to start today?
Yeah, just a couple things. We had the end of the Gadsden Reed's concert the other night, the Jimmy Buffett authorized band at the amphitheater. And best we could tell, we probably had a little over 1,200 to 1,300 people. A lot of the kids, anywhere from about 6 to 12, they were out there with the beach balls knocking them around. The band was really, really good, and everybody had a big time, and that was a free concert, and there'll be some other ones coming up every first Friday for the next few months. Also, there's some other really good bands. Some of the names I can't remember, but if you'll keep watching the PR, you'll know what they are and maybe what type of music they play. Plus, this week is River Fest. They'll be closing the road, I think, towards the end of the week. It's going to be really hot, but we're expecting some really big crowds. I think the chamber has a good lineup, so we just ask everybody to come out and enjoy it and be safe and drink plenty of water. Thank you.
Robert?
Let me say that we just finished up this weekend hosting elected officials from all over the country. We had about, I think, 19 different states that were represented here. And I think we had a great time, Mayor. I know they did.
Yeah, we did.
I'm kind of wore out from it, but I serve on the National League of Cities Fair Committee, and the FAIR stands for Finance and Intergovernmental Relations Committee. There are a lot of issues facing our municipalities all over the country, and it's our job as the steering committee on that particular group is to come up with resolutions and or policies to present to the National League of Cities so they can go to on the Hill in Washington to lobby on behalf of municipalities and governments all over the country. Again, it's a very serious position. Right now, we're in the midst of a recession, and a lot of cities are laying off people, losing revenue. And we're trying to come up with some type of mechanism to help those cities and towns across the country. So it was a very rewarding meeting. We worked real hard, and the mayor found out they partied hard too. They were down at the Jimmy Buffett thing, and they were up dancing and having fun. So everybody really enjoyed that, and I've already gotten several emails and comments about how much they love the city of Gadsden. We might even have one guy who's thinking about moving. It was interesting. He come up to me and said that he had just come off the internet and he was looking at a couple of houses for sale. So I thought that was very, very interesting. So again, I think, Kerry's not in here, is he? Kerry Payne with the Parks and Rec Department for a tremendous job in getting people to and from the airport, and of course, transportation, who handled the transportation while they were here in the city, taking them around to the different locations. So I really want to thank them publicly for the work that they've done. You know, I voted a few minutes ago not to let anything come up on the new business, just to show
how petty that is, number one, because the issue is going to come up either today or next week, and so what's the difference if you vote on it today or if you vote on it next week? It's obvious that I'm more of a man than the person who voted down the issue that we couldn't bring up today that I brought up, because I changed my mind and let everybody vote on the issues that they wanted to vote on today on the new business. So I think we need to be consistent in what we do. I know that Pastor Word was upstairs, and he came on behalf of the issue that I had brought forth, and that is to do away with the requirements. And I don't think he understood that there was an area in the city of Gadsden where there was no requirements. And then when he found that out, then he realized that he and I were on the same page. You know, that we need to do away with all the, do away and put those restrictions everywhere. You can't start separating and making a difference. If it's a church, it's a church. I don't care where it's located. If it's in the middle of the jungles or if it's downtown Gadsden, it's still a church. And if your opposition is that you don't like the idea of alcoholic beverages being sold close to a church, then you should be in favor of that no matter where the church is located. And that's the problem I have. That is the problem I have. Because we have some people on this council who are adamantly opposed to letting alcoholic beverages be sold close to a church on Tuscaloosa Avenue. But they have no problem with it being sold close to a church on Broad Street. I have a problem with people like that. I have a serious problem with people like that. I also have a serious problem with people who go to those bars and drink and then come up here and want to be more holier than thou. I don't want to talk about my members. They know who they are. I'm not a drinking man. Never have, never will. I'm going to leave that conversation alone, just right there. But I support the legal sale as long as it's legal. No matter where it is, if it's legal in the city of Gadsden, then we should be able to sell it in the city of Gadsden. And I've challenged minister after minister and group after group who have come up here to oppose alcoholic beverages being sold in their neighborhood. The first thing I tell them is, if you'll get a petition to do a referendum on going dry, bring it back. I'll be the first guy to sign it. You know how many have bought the petition back? 0. Because it's all about personal and neighborhood stuff, and you don't care about what happened in the rest of the city. You can say a lot of things about me. One thing I'm consistent. I don't know what Ben had up, or what he mentioned, but I'm consistent when it comes down to voting on issues like that. The law says that alcoholic beverage can be sold in the city of Gadsden. And as long as that's the law, I'm going to support it. But I guarantee you, if somebody bought a petition up here to do a referendum on doing away with that, I'll be the first guy to sign it too. Thank you.
I think the issue of the B4s and B3s and the sale of alcohol in those districts is a very serious situation that I think we need to take a little more than 5 minutes to decide that. So I'm glad we put it off another week. I would like to commend Robert Avery for bringing that fair committee into Gadsden, probably the smallest city they've ever attended, and he just he did a fabulous job, and I certainly commend you for doing that, and also thank you for withdrawing your objections to the legislature that we passed today. So that's all I have to say.
Everett?
Thank you, Mr. President. So is there anyone here from Parks and Rec who can speak to the impact that the extended hours have had? Nobody's here. Okay. So if I can, I'd like to ask that we, at next week's pre-council, be prepared to kind of speak to the...
They're tracking that. It's going to be.
Okay. Okay. Also, I'd mentioned last week about, at some level, helping to formalize the what used to be the unofficial basketball circuit. So I'd like to also be prepared to revisit that as well next week. So, Mr. Avery, we talked a lot about this vote, and Mr. Avery raises a very compelling argument. And I think the one area of his argument that I agree with wholeheartedly on is that it does concern me when it appears that the area in his district in particular, Tuscaloosa Avenue, appears to be the adversely impacted area, and that is a majority-minority community. That part does concern me relative to the number of on-premises alcohol licenses granted in that area and the proximity relative to churches. That bothers me. And so I do agree that we've got some time for additional discussion and the need for some additional discussion, in particular as that relates to the downtown area. To be quite honest, I think as a city and as a state, we've got bigger fish to fry than this. And let me repeat that. We have much bigger fish to fry than this. But it's an issue that's up, and we've got to deal with it. We've got to address it. So I think that we need to go ahead and address Mr. Avery's issue next week and then be prepared to move on. And for me, it's not personal at all. It's about what's important for this city. Because one of the things we do have to consider is the economic impact to the downtown area. In the state of Alabama, it amazes me sometimes how we get caught up on many principal arguments, and we forget to be reasonable. And so again, I think it's important that we have some good discussion about this issue. Historically, this state sometimes frustrates me because we make a lot of moral claims, and yet we are guilty of some of the worst human rights violations known to man. And that's very frustrating for me. This is one of them. This is one of those moral arguments that we make. We're a self-proclaimed Bible Belt state. Yet again, we're guilty of some of the biggest and largest human rights violations known to man. So very concerning to me, and I think, again, we have much discussion to have, and I hope that we vote this issue up or down on next week.
Ben?
Yeah, and I have no problem with that either. Derek, I think you're on the right track. My people in my district send me up here to vote their opinion, and most all the time that's what I do. It may be the law, but I can still sit up here and give my opinion on things that come before this council. Again, it may be the law, but I still can voice my opinion and the opinion of my district. I was thinking last night, when I was coming up, we had the blue laws, and I think the blue laws said that you didn't do business on Sunday. Am I right, Bruce? I think I'm pretty well right. Mm-hmm. So we got around that, and we voted that in, and now we don't have the blue laws anymore. We got all-day Sunday business as usual, all 7 days of the week. Then we came up and we put the Club 7, the new club license in for everybody, which means liquor sales 24/7. Okay, and they'll bring up that the VFW and the American Legion and the Elks Club and all of them have it anyway, and that's fine too. But to surround a church with beer is a little bit much, and it just shows a progression to me from the blue laws that we used to be under, and morally we were a pretty good nation then, and look where we've fallen to, for God's sakes. We've fallen all the way down to the bottom. We're going to have Sunday liquor sales here, I guarantee you, within 2 or 3 years. It's just one more progression toward the darn bottom. So if that's where you want to go on the bottom, go right ahead. But I'm still going to give my opinion on this because I believe in it. And if anybody don't like it, just call me on my phone. I got it, and I'll meet you anywhere. I have no problem.
That's 555, oh no.
Robert, I'll see you at 2 o'clock.
Billy?
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, I'm a little distraught right now. We celebrated Memorial Day 2 weeks ago, and during that celebration, we took a minute out to give thanks for those fallen heroes in different wars that have served overseas in different places, to make sure that we had the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, in addition to the right to vote. My right to vote should not ever be questioned by anyone. My vote should not ever be questioned by anyone. That's my right, that's my privilege, I exercise it. Whether you like whether I voted for or not is irrelevant. Stated opinions are up here, and they are going to be stated opinions by everyone for whatever reasons. I'm like several of the other council people here who have stated many things about the situation that we're in now. There may need to be some changes made. We have some situations that may not be fair. We have situations where you don't agree, and I have situations where my constituents sent me here to represent them, and their voice is what I speak, and not personally my own personal opinion. Although you can't separate your personal opinion from issues when you are involved in those situations. When you are a part of that particular situation, you cannot do it. Yes, we do have time to consider an ordinance that was put to us here at council meeting, and of course I had no knowledge of it. It seems like to me it would have been introduced in pre-council, so it could have been discussed, but I want time to think about it, and that's my vote, and that's my right. We really kicked this thing around truly too much, and it really needs to come. It needs to be resolved, and I hope that we can do that with some civility on next Tuesday. I also like to ask, the other thing I'd like to mention is personal properties. Please maintain your property. I get calls from people in our district that want to know what can they do or what can we do to entice their neighbors to keep up their property, to mow the lawn, to get things out. And I just ask you to, if you're one of those persons who aren't, please pay particular attention to your properties. Enhance the neighborhood. Make your area, make it a place that you can be proud of, not something that you can be ashamed of when someone drives through. And lastly, the extended summer hours are going to last through the summer. We had said we would do it initially to a pilot program to see if it would work, but my understanding, and Carrie understands, that we will run this program throughout the summer in those 3 places that it's currently being instituted. And I understand that they're having good turnouts on Saturdays at those recreation centers, and I encourage the citizens to continue to support that program so that we can expand this thing next summer. Thank you.
If I remember correctly, the downtown area and the 2 zones where the law was because of the enforcement and the lounge operations by the police and law enforcement. This was an area that was the business area of the city, and therefore they've tried to keep it out of the residential areas, which I agree with 100%. Tuscaloosa Avenue, in my opinion, is really part of the business district.
It is.
I'm sorry this has come to what it has, but I still don't like to be put on a guilt trip either.
That's right.
And
I'm sorry, Bob.
I'm still going to vote the way I think my vote folks want me to vote, and well, that's it. Is there anything else?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
This meeting is adjourned.